Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video we will be setting our VPS server for web development. So I just bought a VPS server from Hostinger. So it has 2 CPU cores, 2 GB of RAM and 40 GB of disk space. We can connect to this server with SSH. So you can find the credential from this SSH access tab. So to connect to this VPS server, you can also connect with this browser terminal, but it's very slow and it is not a nice looking terminal. So we will be using a third-party SSH client called MobXtreme. It has free home edition. In the left side, you will find File Explorer, and in the right side, you will find a Linux terminal. So it's very easy to use to manage your VPS server. So I have already downloaded it. Let's install it. So you need to grab the IP address of your VPS server. The default username will be root and you need to change the SSH password. So we will change it here. So I have successfully changed my root password. Let's connect to this server. Open MobXtreme. Go to session. Click SSH and in a remote host you have to put your IP address. So we will specify a username called root. In advanced SSH setting, you can also use a private key to log in to this VPS server, but we will be using simple username and password for basic setup. So click OK. Now it will be connect to your VPS server. Click accept, and in here you have to put your root password, which we have just changed in our control panel. So let's save the password. Yes, so to save the password you just need to create a master password for your local system. It's not for your VPS system. So create it. Now you successfully connect to your VPS server. Here you can see here your IP address of your VPS server. First we need to update our Ubuntu. So type sudo apt update and apt upgrade. Type yes if anything prompt. So it will update our Ubuntu repository and it will also install the updates. So let's install Nginx. Sudo apt install Nginx. So sudo apt install Nginx. Type yes. Now check the status if Nginx is running or not. We can use systemctl commands for that. As you can see here, it failed to start. To use Nginx, we need our port 80 to be available. Let's check if port 80 is available or not. You can use netstat for that. As you can see here, port 80 is already be used by Apache 2. In latest version of Ubuntu, Apache 2 is installed by default and already run on port 80. So what we need to do is we need to assign a different port to your Apache 2. So to change the port of Apache 2, we need to go to the port.config file. So go to /etc apache 2 ports.config. We need to change it to 8081. For SSL, we will be using 8443 instead of 443 because it will be used by Nginx. So write out Ctrl O, then enter Ctrl X for exit. Then we will restart our Apache 2 server. Let's check the status. So Apache 2 is running. Let's check the ports. We can use the same netstat command. As you can see here, port 80 now available and Apache 2 is running on port 8081. So let's restart Nginx. Let's check the status. As you can see, Nginx is successfully running. Let's check the ports. You can see here Nginx is running on port 80. So let's visit to our IP address. As you can see here, we have a default page, but it is saying Apache 2 default page. Okay. If we go to inspect menu, network, refresh the page. As you can see here, it is coming from our VPS IP and port 80. So our configuration is successful, and so this page is actually coming from Nginx. So if we try to go to different route, You can see here it's 404 not found error, and you can see here that it is coming from Nginx, which is version 1.18, and our operating system is Ubuntu. So this information should be hide to secure your server. So let's go to default Nginx config file and modify some features. So you can find Nginx config file at hc Nginx. In here type nano Nginx conf. So type nano Nginx conf, and we need to edit something here. So in HTTP block, uncomment this server tokens off to hide server information, and add proxy hide header x powered by to stop clickjacking attacks. Ctrl O for write, click enter, Ctrl X to exit. Then you need to validate the configuration file if there is an error or not. Type nginx-t. So it will validate all the configuration file. Now we need to reload our Nginx server. For that, type systemctl reload Nginx. Now refresh the page in the browser. As you can see here, our operating system and Nginx version is hidden now. So let's go to this file and edit something. So in Nginx, we create all of our configuration file in site available, and then in sites enable directory, we create a symlink of that file. So let's go to site available. So you can see here there is a default configuration. So type nano default. So you can see here we have a default server here. The server is listening on port 80 and it is a default. So we have a server here which is listen on port 80, and we are telling our Nginx to use this server as a default server. We can also enable 443, which is for SSL HTTPS connection. So next we are defining the root directory of our domain. So it's in var www.html folder, and in there we are telling our Nginx to run any index file. Then we have the server name. Here you can defining your domain name if you have one. For this server we are using underscore. That's mean we are using our IP address to host our application. The next is some PHP configuration which is currently comment out. So in the later video we will be also configure this thing. Let's go to this directory and see what's in there. HTML. So we have two files. One is index.html and another is index.nginx-debian.html. Type nano index.html. As you can see here, it says Apache Ubuntu default page. It works. So this page is this page. If you go to view page source, you can see here it is the same content which is written on in this file, and one is index.nginx/debian.html. So why it is running only this file? So if you go to the default Nginx configuration file, first we define index.html, then we define index.nginx/debian.html. So that's why it is running index.html at first, then this. We can also modify this. So let's delete that and save it. Ctrl O for write, enter, then Ctrl X for exit. Then we will validate our configurations, reload Nginx. You can also restart Nginx, but it will take longer time. Let's refresh that page. Now you can see here we are seeing different page. If we go to the second file, you can see here its title called welcome to Nginx, then h1 tag welcome to Nginx. So if you go to the view page source, you can see the same content in here also. So we have successfully served a static HTML page to our IP address. So in the upcoming videos, we will be using a custom domain name. We will be buying it from GoDaddy or anywhere else and bind it to our IP address and also configure some SSL. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of videos, do subscribe to this channel and hit on the like button.